I begin my journey for the third and final down tier by going through levels like Heavy Machinery, with its machine-themed obstacles, and Lights Out, where Aku Aku is only source of light, while battling Pinstripe along the way. Let's continue our journey to battle Dr. Cortex. So at the beginning of this level, this section can be rather tricky to get by without taking a hit. But on the other hand, it's not so bad to lose a life there since it's right at the beginning of the level to lose a life on those floating robots. And those robots, you can't jump on them, but you can use the spin attack on them. But these robots with the saw blades on them, on the other hand, you can't jump on them or use the spin attack on them, but you can use Aku Aku's invincibility form on them. There are also red pipes in this level that you take damage when you touch them, but there are also blue pipes which you don't take damage when you touch them, and they can be used as platforms. And there are also conveyor belts, which do as you probably would expect them to do. They just push you around in a certain direction. And there are also robots that move around on the ground, and they can either be jumped on or you can use your spin attack on them. And there are also platforms that'll fall when you stand on them, and there are many platforms like that throughout the game. And there's also steam that'll hurt you if you touch it as well. And it'll also launch you up into the air if you're invincible, when you have Aku Aku's invincibility form. Now, normally I have Aku Aku's invincibility form here, but since I took damage on that TNT, I don't have it here, so I have to be a little bit cautious as I make my way through. I also could have probably gotten the Aku Aku invincibility form earlier, although it might only be that mask is in the Japanese version, not the US version. But, because there are plenty of differences between the Japanese version and the English versions of the game. But, I didn't, know that the mask was up there, so I didn't end up taking it. And it's also possible, again, like I said before, that's not even in the English versions of the game. I grab plenty of lives throughout the game, and I don't really need this many extra lives, so I just go ahead and grab them out of habit, and just for the sake of having them. And normally this game gives you a good amount more of extra lives during the regular levels than Crash 2 and Crash 3. But on the other hand, during the bonus levels, you can get a good amount of extra lives in Crash 2 and Crash 3, which I'm not sure there are as many of in the bonus levels in Crash 1. Or at least in Crash 1, the bonus levels aren't typically required, except for the Cortex bonus rounds, so that is something to keep in mind. I was able to get Aku Aku's invincibility form for this level, which is really good, because this level can be pretty tricky without it. Now this level has alternating paths, and this is the only level in the game really that has this many alternating paths. So you'll want to make sure to try to memorize where you need to go throughout the level. Or just go through all the paths, of course, if you're trying to go for 100%. This is also notably one of the shortest levels of the game, despite being near the end of it. Almost all of the other levels in this point of the game are pretty lengthy, but this is a rather short level that takes only about a minute to complete, if you're not going for 100%. And even if you are going for 100%, I would imagine this would be one of the shortest levels in the game still. Now there we just passed an iron crate with an exclamation mark on it, and what that does is that allows you to make other crates appear throughout the level. If you didn't spin the crate, there would be crates with little white lines over them, and that means you have to spin another crate with an exclamation mark over it in order to make those crates appear, where the crates with the white marks would be. No, this is a pretty difficult level, I think, but it is a pretty straightforward level at the same time. Despite the new music track and the new background, it doesn't really introduce anything new that you haven't already seen before throughout the game. It has a lot of these moving platforms that are pretty difficult to jump through, and it also has a section coming up that's difficult to get by without taking a hit as well. And it's this section right here. You want to jump across it, then wait on the falling platform a bit before making the next jump. Now here I took a hit, which was rather unfortunate, and that left me without an Aku Aku without a mask in the next level, Toxic Waste. And Toxic Waste is a level where I end up taking at least one hit on, if not two usually. So because of that, I ended up losing a life there, and that was something that was unfortunate, but at least I only ended up losing one life there in the end, which is good. As that last part of the bouncing barrels can be rather difficult, which I'll get to later. And the gimmick of this level is that there's bears that'll throw barrels, and they'll throw them straight across the ground, or they'll bounce up and down. And for the ones that go across the ground, they're pretty easy to avoid, except when you're going up a ramp, in which case it can sometimes be difficult to avoid getting hit by them. But otherwise the barrels are easy to avoid except for the bouncing ones. And I've only gone to this level, once with invincibility that I can remember. And notably the barrels will push you up in the air when you touch them with invincibility form. And with the bouncing barrels, I alternate between going forward on the first one, and then going back a bit, and then going forward on the second one on the next set. So there'll be one where I'll go forward a bit, then the next one I'll go back a bit and then go forward, or I'll adjust my position and strategy based on where the barrel is and where it crashes. Overall, these bouncy barrels can be really difficult to avoid. And normally I don't lose a life here, but that's because I have gold Aku Aku mask form. but here I didn't, so I ended up losing a life, but still ended up having a pretty good run this level overall though. Right now we're at Pinstripe, and at first he's vulnerable during the first little bit when you can spin him 3 times, and then after that he'll only be vulnerable when his gun starts malfunctioning. And to avoid his gunfire, you just get crashed into his crouch position. You don't necessarily have to be behind the chairs, but that's just what I always do. You can be at certain other areas where he'll be crouching, and even though Pinstripe will be firing at you, he won't actually damage you. And it can be easy to get caught in the chairs and end up taking damage when he goes to fire at you. You'll get caught in the chairs and won't be able to make it behind the chair in time. And normally that doesn't happen there, but normally I can get by this battle without taking any damage, but that's just one of those things that end up happening. But there were still plenty of good spots this run that I didn't feel like it was a big run killer or anything. So right now we're at the high road, and the high road is a more difficult version of Road to Nowhere. And this is one of the only levels in the game that doesn't have a mask in it, Aku Aku that is. So this level can be quite difficult. Although I find that I end up losing here more often by falling than by running into the enemies. Although the turtles here can still be difficult to avoid and can catch me off guard. And the hogs sometimes I think might be able to get me here, but mostly the friend this level is falling rather than the enemies. Specifically in this level, you have to use the turtle shells in order to jump over the gaps. And this is something that can be easier said than done. You have to jump on the turtles and then jump on the turtle shell in order to jump over the gap. And you'll want to use Crash's Shadow in order to determine where he's going to land, and hold down the jump button in order to bounce higher than you would be able to normally. And also remember holding back when you need to, and holding forward when you need to in order to land on the little individual bridge platforms. One thing you can do is jump on the ropes at the edges of the bridge, but there's a very small area where you can walk on, so it's incredibly difficult to get by jumping on the ropes. So generally it's better to stay on the bridge itself instead of trying to jump on the ropes. After this level is Slippery Climb. Which is easily one of the most difficult levels in the game. And it's also notable for being the only level in the game to have a single checkpoint. One of the only levels in the game to have a single checkpoint. And the checkpoint is pretty far into the level. And it's also a good ways. There's also a good ways between the checkpoint and the end of the level. So that's just one of the things that makes this level difficult, in my opinion. Also, there's a lot of difficult jumps to make, and there's only one Aku Aku. There's only one mask in this level, so that can also make things difficult, along with the fact that the high road doesn't have any masks, and beating Pinstripe takes away your masks. So unless you revisit a level early, you won't have any masks going into this level. And Aku Aku doesn't show up until late into this level either. Although, to be fair, the main threat of this level is falling into a pit, as opposed to the enemies. And also the spikes, which to be fair, Aku Aku does protect you from. But still, there are a good amount of pits to fall in as well, aside from the spikes. Now, the key in this level to get by is timing. It's all about taking your time and waiting for the right time to make the various jumps. And I'm kind of following the path that I take. Except for, of course, that one mistake I made earlier. Which normally I don't make, but I ended up having a little bit of problem with the jump there. But other than that, if I remember, I still played this level pretty well. That part there, if I remember right, yeah, that part's one of the really tricky ones that I did just earlier. You can get another checkpoint by going into the Embryo bonus round, but if you're skipping the bonus rounds other than the Cortex bonus rounds, then there is only one checkpoint in this level. One of the things that's nice about not going for 100% is that there are certain crates like those ones earlier that I don't have to go for, and those ones I feel like are pretty tricky to go for without losing a life. And another thing that's nice about not going for 100% is that you don't have to go to levels twice. And this is something that you can learn more about when you watch a 100% speed run, which yeah, you can watch a speed run. There are many of those, and see for yourself why you have to backtrack to levels. So here's the first of two dark levels, and this is the only dark level that is required to be in order to complete the game. The other one is a secret level that you need a key from a Cortex bonus round in order to complete, and that's the one located in Jaws of Darkness, the next level, which will be in the next video, as this will be the last level that I'll be playing in this video. And in the dark levels, you have Aku Aku as your light source, and it'll run out after a certain amount of time, or when you get hit. So in this level, you'll really want to rush through the level as quickly as possible, and try not to get hit if at all possible, because going through the level in the dark can be quite difficult. And in this section right here, I wait for the rats to fall in the pit before I make my way forward, so I can have an easier time going for that section. And in the dark, you'll know the rats are there when you see their red eyes glow in the dark. And normally the last Aku Aku light runs out just about the end, but here I take a hit, which was rather unfortunate, but at the same time I made it through without getting hit again in the dark, which was nice, so I ended up not losing a life here. So I'll go ahead and end the level, and then that'll be the end of this video. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more, be sure to subscribe for more videos. And with that will be the end of this video. This is Isaac, and I will see you later.